Hello friends, it's Chari and welcome back to my channel. So today is FlossTube number 7. I don't have a lot of things to share today, but I felt like I should pop in and tell you about a couple things. So since I saw you last, Easter came. We had lunch at my parents' for Easter, me and my sister, of course, which you know I've made some videos with. And she wanted to give the boys, her boy, my boy, a cross-stitch quiz. And it was a lot of fun. So we recorded that and it is over on her channel. And I'll put a link in the top corner here. I'll also put a link in the description below because it is a pretty entertaining thing to watch. They did pretty good. They did not know a lot of the answers. They used their brains and figured some of them out and did pretty good at that. But also some of the things they said at first were pretty entertaining. So I'll link to that if you want something fun to go and watch. Nichol Spohr also had a great question and answer session with Cathy from Hands On Design. You know I love Hands On Design, and Cathy is so nice and sweet, and it was a great interview. I'll put a link to that as well if you have not already seen it, because it is a good thing to watch as well. Cathy is very informative. You get to hear a lot about her patterns, and of course Nichol is doing a stitch along, which I am going to show my progress on that today. I started ahead because I knew what was coming. So they talked about those patterns and it was a really fun interview. So I'll link to that as well. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about today is the botanical bee. So when I talked about this in my last video, I mentioned I might want to do a stitch along for my birthday, which is in May, and a lot of you showed some interest. So I'm going to take this down and I will put up a image here. I broke the chart down into 4 sections and we're going to start May 1st. So we're going to do the body of the bee, which I'm going to say includes all the appendages like the legs and the arms and the antennae. Then we're going to do the right wing and the hives, and then the left wing and the flowers. And then the 4th week will be the flowers at the top, which there's not as many of, but I feel like at that point, week 4 would be good for some catch up if you got up behind a little bit. This is just kind of a suggestion. 4 weeks, 4 sections of the chart. I know that stitch-alongs are a good way to stay motivated to get something done, and I feel like a schedule really helps along with that. So if the schedule is going to help you, go for it. If you don't like it at all, that's fine too. You don't have to go by it. There's no rules. No one's going to check on you. But I just thought it would be fun to stitch this one together, and I think Cathy is kind of excited that we're going to do it too because she left me a nice comment on my post on Instagram. So I'll put the image here of the breakdown and the schedule, but you can also find those images on Instagram as well. And again, we're not going to start until May 1st, so there's plenty of time to pull together your stuff. I am stitching on the juniper fabric, which is what is called for. I have Lugana, so it might be a little lighter. I'm not sure. It looks very blue in the picture, but the juniper is much more green, I feel like. Someone on Instagram did say they had trouble finding the fabric and was looking for alternatives, and I started looking to find things that were close. I have to be honest, this, which is what my clover and hive is stitched on, is not too far off. So this is jade, and I'm going to show you that because it's finished. And then I actually pulled some colors out of my stash because I have a lot of colors rather than going with the called for colors. So I will be sharing this as well in case you too want to pull from your stash. I think that's all as far as kind of housekeeping goes. I only have a couple whips to share. I'm looking at my notes down here. I finished a couple things and I have one fully finished, which I'll show this on my desktop as well, but it is Spring Folk. I did get it onto the board. I do want to do a little more embellishing at the top, maybe with some pink flowers and maybe a green leaves. We'll see, to kind of match this motif. But I want to figure out an easy way to attach it to where I can change it out, because this is on the board with magnets so that I can change this out each season. So when summer folk comes out, I can stitch it up and switch them. So I will switch down to my desktop and we will talk about my few projects that I've got. Okay, first up, let's talk haul. First, I got these little wooden bees in the mail today. They're 3 different sizes. I think I'm going to use these 2. These are a little bigger than I expected, but I bought these to maybe use on my clover and hive finish. So I just purchased these from an Etsy seller, but I think they're kind of cute. I also picked up from Hands On Design. They have the finishing rounds. I do have gather round, or the first gather round, and I plan on getting all of them. So each of these packs has 6, and there are 3 rounds in each season. So if you buy 2, you get enough rounds to do all 4 seasons. So these are laser cut mat board rounds. So I have 2 packs of those, and then I got a pack of the finishing rounds. Now these are 4 inches, and these are 4 3/8. There are 4 of these, and these are the ones that go with the Liberty Pennies, the Botanical Bee, a Classic Haunt, and Gather at the Table, which I have all those charts. So this is perfect. If you have all those, you just pick up this pack of 4 and now you have rounds to finish all of those on. I do have 2 charts to share. I picked these up. I couldn't get them pre-order for whatever reason. They were out of stock when I did my pre-order, but I picked them up later, and which is totally fine. I have plenty of charts. This is very wintry, so I'm not going to be stitching this anytime soon, but I got the Frosty Tiny Town from Heart and Hand and the Frosty Frill from Heart and Hand. Most of my other haul is fabric. This is 28 count Dusk Lugana from Picture This Plus. I love this fabric, and this is what I stitched my Oh Christmas 3 ornaments on, and a couple other things at Christmas. It's been out of stock for quite a few months, so when the in-stock notification came, I picked up 2 pieces just to stock up and have them in my stash. I also picked up 2, I wasn't quite sure. This is white, this is Silver Moon, which is a very light color. These are both 40 count, which is very small for me, something new to try. But I have an idea of what I want to stitch, and I wanted to stitch it really small. And so I picked these up to hopefully work on that project idea, which I will share when I get to that project, which might be a little while. So I also put in an order with Starlight Stitchery. Their fabrics come in these glassine bags, which are really noisy, so I went ahead and took them out. This is Bestitch Me One More Reproduction, and this is a beautiful color. It kind of reminds me of like tea dye. So I picked that up because I'd heard many people love this color, so I picked this up to put it in my stash. I'll have to find something to stitch on that. And then this piece, it was labeled wrong. It's Color and Cotton Tinsmith, and it is a really pretty light gray. I would say this kind of has a green tone to it. And the only reason I say that is because I also picked up, and this is from Color and Cotton off their website, because they listed that they had some extra club fabrics, which I'm not part of the club. So this was the March 2024 club. This is called Drizzle. And this one is also a light gray, but this one has more of like, I would say, a blue tone to it. And when you put it by this one feels like it has a green tone to it. But they're both really pretty. And I have started a project on linen, so I'm not as scared of it as I was, and so now I'm kind of glad that I spent a little money and picked up some linen, so I have them in my stash to pull for some projects. And finally, I have the Denim Bold. This is also from Color and Cotton. This was a pre-order and it showed up right after I finished my last video. But this is a beautiful dark blue color, and I think that I want to stitch the Liberty Pennies piece on this. This is on, let's see. Yeah, the Fabrics by Stephanie Slate, which is dark black color or dark gray. But I think it would look really pretty on this. I think I would just need to pick a blue that would show up and not match too much, but I think everything else would stand out really nicely. And then lastly, I picked up some colors from Color and Cotton. This is not part of the monthly club. These were just ones I liked. Some of them had been out of stock, and I got notifications that they were back. And so I went over there and added these to my cart. So we have Holly, Sherwood Forest, Vaudeville, Daydream. This is really pretty, like a deep teal. Witch's Brew, which is a very deep purple. It's very pretty. Iron, and Wren, which is a very nice light brown color. And that is all for my haul today. All right, let's talk whips. So I have 2 whips to share today. I finished my Little Sheep Virtue number 8, so I will share that with my finishes, and decided I would get started on number 9. So this one says Friendship with those 2 cute little sheep. It has a, right here, it says 1 + 1 = 2. I'm not really crazy about that part, so I may leave that out. And I thought about, I like the purple, and the only other purple is this heart, so I might make this like 3 little hearts or something like that underneath it. I'm just not crazy about the, math problem in my chart. I like just the word being my only word and everything else being, or being my only text, I should say, and everything else being a picture. So I may change that part up a little bit. And then my other whip is the Summer Basket Triple Play Pillows. This is Nicole Spohr's Flossiversary Stitch Along. We're going to be making these into Biscornu. So I decided to start with the Summer Basket. I did buy all the other seasons, but I liked this one I shouldn't say the most. I also like the autumn one, but I felt like of spring and summer, this was definitely the one I liked more. And what I want to try, because I wanted to challenge myself, this is one I'm stitching on linen, which I had not done before, and I also wanted to try stitching each one on a different count. So I'm stitching this one on 32, this one on 36, and then this one will be on 40. And I kind of picked that because this one is the more dense design with a lot more stitching, and I thought, okay, we'll do that one on 32 because that's probably the most comfortable for me. Then this one I feel like is the middle one. We'll go to the next count, and then this one has like the least dense stitches, and we'll try that one on 40. So far it's going well. I have basically finished the first one, and this is the one that's on 32. I have not done my border around it yet to make it a Biscornu. I'm going to wait to do that. And I have not decided what I wanted to do for the bottom yet. So the way I wanted to go about this is just work on all 3 tops, and then I'll go back and revisit what I want to do for the bottom, because I'll be completely honest, I really love the 2-tone Biscornu stack I made. And so part of me wants to try dyeing the fabric for the bottom to be a color yet to be seen, but that's currently where my thought process is. And so I finished the first one, and I've moved on to the second one. This is the one that is on the 36 count. and I was stitching on this last night, so this is how much progress I've made, which actually is pretty good bit. I need to go back in and do the white stars inside here, but yeah, I think I've done pretty good. I finished all the red except for what's in the middle of the stars in the corner. So I'm moving along. Now I am stitching this with one strand. This is the 36 count flax linen, and this is a 32, and I actually did this all in one strand as well, except for the white. For the white I used 2 because I started with the border with 2 before I changed my mind, and so I just continued doing 2 strands for the white, 1 strand for all the other colors, and I felt like that would make this one match the others a lot better, because I'm definitely not going to do 2 strands on 36 or 40. And this one was number 8, and I have completed him. And he was kind of fun. He was a little different because the sheep is not just a solid white. He has like a pattern in him. I am still using that whisper thread on my sheep. I don't think you see the fuzziness that much, but as much as I dislike stitching with it, I do want to be consistent through all my sheep. And my other finish is Clover and Hive. This is stitched on 28 count jade Lucana, and I love how this turned out. Now, I haven't quite finished it yet, but I'm getting close. I did paint my board from Chantal. This is the Lewis board. I painted this with a purple, a violet, then I did a crackle, then I did, I forget what the color was. I actually filmed myself doing this, so hopefully I can make it into a tutorial. So I did the crackle, then I did the light color, which made the cracks, and then we can see the purple through it, and I picked the purple to match the purple in my stitch. And then when it was dry, I kind of grunged it up a little bit with some Distress Oxide ink in Scorched Timber. Just barely with a foam tool, and kind of wiped it. I just wanted it a little bit less bright, and then I sealed it with a clear matte sealant. So that's part of my plan for the weekend, is to finish this guy off. It is a little taller than my stitch, obviously, but I think it's still going to look pretty good with more crackle at the top, and at the bottom I'll probably put some ribbons. That's where the little bees come in. So I think I'll add a couple little bees in here. We'll see where it goes. I don't always have the embellishments in my head the way I want to do it, but Clover and Hive is done, and I love how it turned out. And then finally, here is my fully finished Spring Folk. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see the whole thing, even though I know it's sideways. It's just so long. And then let's just pick it up so you can see it in more detail. Now this one is on 32 count driftwood Lugana, not linen. And I stitched with 1 strand for almost everything. For the letters I did 2, because I wanted them to be a little bit more bold. And I loved doing the specialty stitches that Cathy did a tutorial and taught us how to do. I, at one point, thought about going back and changing my bunnies to be 2 strands, but I kind of like the more kind of washed out, delicate look of the 1 strand. So everything is basically 1 strand except for the letters. And then some of the white I left as 2 when it was just the little confetti stitches, because I didn't want them to disappear so much. But the bunnies are 1. And I love it. I love how it turned out. I used this same Grace Green Lady Dot Creates Rick Rack. And then my fabric is just a piece that I found at my local fabric store. It was a really pretty buttery yellow color. Yellow I feel is hard, but I've loved this piece. I don't think it's something that, I think it's an older collection that is not readily available. I will have to look at the selvage of my piece that I have left over and I can list what the fabric was below. And of course, this is finished on the folk paddle from Chantel's 141 Design Company, and I stained it with the Jacobean stain. That is what they used when they stained their boards for the Pep Rally retreat, which was where Cathy first designed the autumn folk, which I can't wait for it to come out because I really loved it. So spring is done, I'm ready for summer, and then bring on fall and winter because I really had fun stitching this. All right, let's talk about the Botanical Bee stitch along one more time. So I am using the juniper fabric, and then these are the colors I have picked out for my color palette. I just thought I would show these in case you're also inspired to pull from your stash. There are DMC suggestions on the chart, and what I did was I pulled out my DMC color chart, found the right number, and then went and pulled something from my stash that I felt worked, and then changed things out if I didn't like them, and then found a color palette that I think works together. So here's the colors I'm using. I will put the graphics back up on the screen with the kind of breakdown of the chart that we're going to do. And again, we're starting May 1st, and we will do one portion of the chart each week for 4 weeks until we have this whole beautiful botanical bee stitched. All right, so I think that's all for today. I didn't have tons to share. I just wanted to pop in and really talk about the stitch along more than anything else so it didn't sneak up on anybody. So again, I've posted those details on Instagram. Instagram is the place that I will probably share most things. We'll use the hashtag HOD Botanical Bee SAL. Sadly, Instagram only shows the top posts for a hashtag. If you don't know this already, if you follow hashtag and you go to that hashtag feed, Instagram only shows you the things that are getting the most likes and attention. It's not going to show you everything. And it doesn't show you stories at all. So those stories don't populate in that hashtag feed. So if you want me to see it and you want Cathy to see it, please tag at Hands On Design so Cathy can see it. Please tag at Chari Moss so I can see it. And that way it will show up in our notifications. We won't miss it and we can reshare it. You can still use the hashtag. Hashtags are lots of fun, but they're not always helpful. So little Instagram lesson for the day. And I think that's all. I think that's all I have. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment below. I love reading all your comments. Thank you so much for giving me some time out of your day, and happy stitching. Bye.